Hello students. So in this session we are going to see the third and very important part of unit 5, that is structs. So at the start we will be having look on structs overview. Okay. So Apache Struts2 is an elegant extensible framework for creating enterprise ready Java web applications. So as the name suggests, it is a product of Apache and it is extensible framework that is mainly used for creating enterprise ready Java web applications. And this framework is designed to streamline the full development cycle from building to deploying and maintaining applications over time. So it is focusing on development cycle like for building products, deploying and maintaining applications over time. So Struts is a Java-based open source framework that helps in developing web application. Okay. And it also focuses on MVC architecture. Then this makes the web applications developed in standard technologies like JSP, Java Beans, and XML, plus more maintainable, extensible, and flexible. So the Struts framework was initially developed by Craig McLennan, and that was handed over to Apache Foundation in May 2000. So gradually it captured the position of top level Apache project in 2005, and later on February 2017 it was replaced by Struts2. Okay, so previously it was not Apache's product, it was handed over from Craig McLennan to Apache. Okay, in May 2000, and in February 2007 it was replaced with the name Struts2. So Struts2 is based on Open Symfony Webwork framework. It is very flexible in terms of development and configurations. The Struts2 is a combination of Webwork framework of Open Symfony and Struts1. Okay. So the Struts framework was extensively based on MVC design paradigm, and its main aim was to separate the model from view and controller in the application so that the dependency can be reduced, and it will promote the separation of concerns. There are few features of Struts2 that make it a very important language, like it is configurable MVC components, then Peugeot based actions, then Ajax support, integration support, various result types. It is having various tag supports plus theme and template support. Okay. So we will see what these features are about. So configurable MVC components in Struts2 framework. We provide all the components like view components and actions information in struts.xml file. So if we need to change any information, we can simply change it in the XML file. Okay, so we can configure the MVC components. This is the main feature of Struts2. Then Peugeot based actions. In Struts2, action class is POJO, that is plain old Java object, and that means it is a simple Java class. Here you are not forced to implement any interface or inherit any class. Directly you can use simple Java class, and you can go on with your application. Then third is Ajax support. So Struts2 provides support to Ajax technology, and it is used to make asynchronous requests. That means it doesn't block the user. It sends only required field data to the server side. Okay, that will send the required data to server side, not the total data. Okay, it it will focus on the required data only. Total data will not be sent to client or the server side. So it makes to perform the actions in faster way. Then fourth feature is integration support. We can simply integrate the Struts2 application with Hibernate, Spring, Tiles, etc. frameworks. So this is having a high integration support as well. Various result types is the fifth feature. We can use JSP, free marker, velocity, etc. technologies as the result in Struts2. Plus various tag support. Various types of tags have been introduced in Struts2 like UI tags, control tags, data tags, okay, which aids in application development. It provides very many tags that are included and that make ease of development in application. Plus theme and template support. So Struts2 provides three types of theme support that are XHTML, simple and CSS underscore XHTML. The XHTML is default theme of Struts2, that is extensible HTML, and themes and templates can be used for common look and feel. So these are few features that are focusing over Struts2, and they make the Struts2 very much important and easily usable by the user. So second part about Struts is the architecture, and this architecture is again containing the model view controller architecture. So the architecture of Struts is purely model view controller architecture, and this architecture we already have seen in previous section as well. There are 5 core components in MVC architecture of Struts2. So before that, again I am revising what MVC is made up of. Okay, so model will represent the state, that is data and business logic of application. View, the view part or the view module is responsible to display data, that is it represents the presentation. It focuses on how the data will be shown to user or displayed to user. And the third part is controller. The controller module acts as an interface between view and model. It intercepts all the requests that receive input and commands to model or view to change accordingly. Okay, so controller will be having control over both the parts, that is model and view part. So these things we have already covered in first, that is AngularJS architecture, MVC architecture as well. Okay, and the Struts framework provides the configurable MVC support. That means, as we have seen, we can change any information in struts.xml file if we want. Okay, so it is configurable, and in Struts2 we define all the action classes and view components in that same struts.xml file. The model view controller pattern in Struts2 is implemented with following 5 core components that are included as: first, actions; second, interceptors; third, value stack or OGNL; fourth, results or result type; and fifth is view technologies. So we'll see one by one what these parts are actually working, or what these parts are focusing on. Okay, so this is the Struts architecture. You can see there is a browser part, model part, view part, and controller part. Okay. Now in the Struts architecture there is request life cycle. Okay, so we'll give the idea about this request cycle from this diagram only. Okay, So based on this diagram, we can understand the workflow through user request lifecycle in Struts2, as the user sends a request to server for requesting for some resource. Okay, the user will send the request, okay, for requesting anything to the server. Okay, the request will be sent to the server. Then the filter dispatcher looks at the request and then determines the appropriate action. So here you can see dispatcher filter is there. So dispatcher will see for that request and it will determine the appropriate action to be taken. And the configured interceptor functionalities applied, such as validation file upload, etc. Okay. Then the selected action is performed based on the requested operation. Okay. The functionalities of configured interceptors like validation, file upload, etc. are then applied, and to carry out the requested operation, selected action is implemented. Then another time the configured interceptors are applied to if you want to apply the interceptors again to execute any post processing if we need, then finally we will generate the result and return it to the user. So firstly the request will be sent, okay, to the user for any resource, like might be web page, and this request is accepted by the filter dispatcher. Okay, then accordingly the appropriate action is determined there only. Then the functionalities of configured interceptors are seen, okay, and means validation, might be file upload, etc. are applied to that particular request, and to carry the requested operation, selected action is implemented. Again, which action should be gone through process, that is decided, and that will be implemented next. To carry out the requested operation, selected action is implemented, and another time the configured interceptors are applied to execute any post processing if there is necessity. And finally the view generates the result and return it to the user. Okay, this is the form of the structure architecture, that is Struts architecture. Then the advantages of model 2 MVC architecture, that include navigation control is centralized, so not only controller contains the logic to determine the next page. Okay, here we can see all are having same importance here. Not only the controller is controlling the parts like model and view part, all are having same importance. That was a different part as in case of AngularJS MVC architecture. Okay, so this makes it easy to maintain, easy to extend, easy to test, and better separation of concerns. And the disadvantages of MVC architecture include we need to write the controller code self, as this is providing configurable MVC architecture. So we have to write the code of controller as by ourselves, and if we change the controller code, we need to recompile the class and redeploy the application. Okay, so if there are any changes that we will make in struts.xml file, then we have to change that controller code plus we need to recompile the class and redeploy the application. Okay, so these are disadvantages of MVC architecture. Then there for example, how to use text structs2 in coding, that we will see with example. So here we have created 4 components for any struct2 project. First is action. Okay, it is the component and its description includes create an action class which will contain complete business logic and control the interaction between the user, the model and the view. Okay, so first thing we have to do is creating the action class. Then second is interceptors. Then we have to create interceptors if required or use existing interceptors. This is the part of controller. Third part is view. Create JSP to interact with user, to take input and to present the final message. So view part, in this part we will create a JSP to interact with the user. Okay, so from user we will take input and also will present the final message. Okay, that is result. And fourth is configuration files. So create configuration files to couple the action, view and controllers. These files are struct.xml, web.xml, struct.properties. So these 4 components must be there for any project using struct2. So how to implement it in Eclipse, how to exactly write the code. So all the steps should be followed in well defined manner so that the required output can be achieved. Okay, so in Eclipse file we will go to new file menu. Okay, first we have to go into file menu, new, and we have to create dynamic web project and enter the project name as hello world struct2. Any name you can use here, as we are going to see the hello world example of struct2, so the name given as hello world struct2. Then select all the default options in the next screen and finally check generate web.xml deployment descriptor option. Okay, so please listen carefully all the steps. So as this is the first project using struct2, first step we have created from file, we have checked new project, that is dynamic web project. In second we have to check all the default options and lastly generate web.xml deployment descriptor. Then copy some struct2 jar files in lib folder of your project. So these are some files that are very important as they are having all the library functions in it. Okay, so these jar files are commons file upload xyz.jar, commons input output xyz.jar, commons lang x.y.jar, commons logging xyz.jar, commons logging API xy.jar, free marker xyz.jar, java assist xyz.ga, ognl xyz.jar, struct2 core xyz.jar and xwork core xyz.jar. So these files should be included in struct2 jar files and in the lib folder of any project that you are creating. Then fourth step, now actually the actual working will start. So we'll create action class. For that we have to create a Java file with a hello world action.java name, and under Java resource source with a package name com.struts2 with the contents that are shown in the below diagram. You can see we have created one public class hello world action, and in that we have defined string with the private attribute. Okay, so private string, and the variable name is name. Then public string execute, it is a function, so it will throw the exception as a return success. And one more publicly defined function, public string get name, it will return the name. Then public void set name, and there we have passed parameter as string name. Okay, and we have used this keyword, that is this dot name equals to name, so it will give the name that is given with the first string object. Okay, then create a view. Create the below JSP file helloworld.jsp in the web content folder in Eclipse project. The thing to be remembered that when you are creating a dynamic web project, all the folders will be automatically generated. Only in these folders you have to fill that required data so that the particular project can be built successfully and executed in required manner. So firstly we have included all that jar files in a lib folder. Then we have created the action class. Now we are creating a view, so the view will be the JSP file. Okay, so that file is shown in the below diagram. This content must be there in your page. Okay, so here we can see the page content type is given as text or HTML. Char set used is UTF-8. Then the tag lib prefix used is yes, and URI is structs dash tags. Okay, now the script is beginning, like HTML and head section we have started. There we have given the title hello world and end of the title plus head section. Then the body section we have given hello world statement, and yes is the property and value is name. Okay, so close that body tag and HTML tag. So here is that end of .jsp. Okay, hello world.jsp page. Then create main page. For creating main page, we will need to create index.jsp in the web content folder. So this file will serve as the initial action URL where a user can click to tell Struts2 framework to call a defined method of hello world action class and render the hello world.jsp view. So this is our main page, and it must be written only in web content folder. Okay, so mainly when you are creating the dynamic web project, all the files that are related to your code that are written in this web content folder only. Okay, and some important file like library etc are written in lib folder that are purely related to configuration files, and the remaining will be written in web content folder. So we can see this is the main page. We have used that page language as Java, content type as text or HTML, char set used is ISO 8859-1, and page encoding is ISO 8859-1, same char set and pre-encoding. Then tag lib prefix is yes, URI is struts dash tags. We have included doc type HTML public, and as it is resource from W3C, that link we have included. Okay, then the HTML script with title hello world, and the body part we have defined just hello world from Struts2. There we have defined the form, okay, with action hello. Label for name, please enter your name. and label is closed here. Then input type text name will be equals to name only with the attribute name, and input type equals to submit and value equals to say hello. Okay, this form is ended, and body and HTML tags are also closed. Then configuration files, this is the main thing. So we need a mapping to tie the URL, the hello world action class of the model, and the hello world.jsp, that is the view. Okay, you have to listen this carefully and keep into in your mind, like hello world action class is model part, and hello world.jsp, that is the view part, that will be shown to the user. Hence create struts.xml file under the web content /web inf /classes folder. Okay, web content in that web-inf and in that classes. Okay, so under this folder you have to create struts.xml, that is the configurable file. Eclipse does not create the classes folder by default. Okay, so you need to do this yourself, and you have to write the coding that is shown into below script. Okay, so after including the script in as a struts.xml file, the next step will be creating web.xml file. Okay, so web.xml file, which is an entry point for any request to struts2. The entry point of struts2 application will be a filter defined in deployment descriptor, that is web.xml, and hence we will define an entry of org.apache.struts2.dispatcher.filterDispatcher class in web.xml. So it is not necessary to write the whole code. There are really some code that is already written. We have to just add few lines in it. Okay, or you can just copy and paste this configurable code. Okay, so this code can be directly copied into your web.xml file. As it is your first structure project, I am giving this into total descriptive way. It might be seen very lengthy process, but it will not take much time as the time is taken for this explanation. Okay, so it will be an easy task, so don't worry about it. So we have created the configurable files, then web.xml files. After adding this script in web.xml, last point is to enable detailed log. Okay, so how that detailed log is enabled? You can enable complete logging functionality while working with struts2 by simply creating logging.properties file under web-inf/classes folder, and keep these two lines in the property file. So these two lines are related to console handler and container base. Okay, so these two lines will enable our detailed logging functionality. Okay, then the procedure for executing application. Now your total application is ready to be built. So how to execute the application? We will right click on the project name and click export, then WAR files to create a WAR file. Then deploy this WAR in Tomcat's web apps directory. Finally, start Tomcat server and try to access the URL index.jsp. Okay, so URL will be http localhost 8080 hello world struts2 and index.jsp will be your file. So this will give you the following screen as output, like enter a value struts2 and submit the page. then you should see the next page. Like in the first page you are seeing hello world from structs2. Please enter your name. Then after clicking, it will show you hello world structs2. Okay, so this is all about the program, how to build your first web application using structs2. So we have seen a simple program of hello world, but the steps taken might be seem lengthy for you, but as it is the first project, we have to give it into descriptive way. Okay, so that will not take much time as it is required here. Okay, it will be easier task, you can implement it by yourself only. Okay, and just that configurable files code can be copied and pasted to particular file. Okay. Then we will see the configuration. The structs configuration include basic configuration which is required for structs2 application, and the important configuration files are that we are already seeing in this example also, that are web.xml, structs.xml, structs.config.xml, and structs.properties. Okay, so you might remember from the program we have created this web.xml, structs.xml, and structs-config.xml. Plus we have added the 2 lines in the properties file. Okay, so all these are configurable files that should be modified as per our requirement in the application. So we'll see one by one what this configurable files actually contain. So first is web.xml file. This web.xml configuration file is a J2EE configuration file that determines how elements of HTTP requests are processed by the servlet container. Okay, it is not strictly a structs2 configuration file, but it will need to be configured for structs2 for working. Okay, so as discussed earlier, this file mainly provides an entry point for any web application, and the web.xml file needs to be created under web content / web.inf folder. Then second is structs.xml file. The structs.xml file contains the configuration information that will be modified as actions are developed. This file can be used to override default settings for any application. For example, structs.dev_mode equals to false, and other settings which are defined in property file. And this file can be created under this folder web-inf/classes. Okay. Then the first thing to note is doc type, and structs is the root tag element under which we declare different packages using package tags. This is about the structs.xml file. Third is structs-config.xml file. The structs-config.xml configuration file, it is the link between view and model components in the web client. This configuration file basically contains main elements like struct-config, which is root node for any configuration file. Then form beans, this is where you map your action form subclass to name. Third is action mappings, this is where you declare form handlers. Fourth is controller, this section configures structs internals. and fifth is plugin. This section tells structs where to find the properties files and which contain prompts and error messages. Okay, so this is about the structs.config.xml file. So all these configuration files are doing their roles particularly with the lines of code, and they are having their decided tasks that should be executed properly for getting your required output. Okay, then the struct.properties file. This configuration file provides mechanism to change the default behavior of framework. This is all these things that I am telling about configuration files is just for information purpose, to see which file is playing what role in that configuration file, because these are very important. Instead, if you are not using these files in a particular manner, then you will not get the required output. So these settings and configuration files are very much important in struct2. Then you can create this file under webinf/classes folder. The values configured in this file will override the default values configured in default.properties, and which is contained in the struct2, like the struct2 core xyz.jar distribution. So this was about the configuration related to struct2. In the next part, we are going to see the actions, interceptors, result types. Okay, so what are actions? We will see. The actions are the core of struct2 framework, as they are for any model view controller framework. Till now we have gone through configuration files, so that is basically focusing on configuration only, so that might be seen somewhat lengthy to you, but the actual processing is the action part. Okay, so and the actions are core for struct2 framework, so that we are going to see in this session. So each URL is mapped to a specific action which provides the processing logic that is necessary to service the request from user. Basically, the action also serves in two other important capacities, like firstly, the action will play important role in transfer of data from request through the view, whether it's a JSP or any type of result. Okay, so what it will do, firstly, the action play the role in transfer of data from request through the view part. Secondly, the action must assist the framework in determining which result should render the view that will be returned in response to the request. Okay, so in the second part, the action must assist the framework in determining which result should be rendered. Okay, that means how that view should be for that user. Okay, so it will focus on rendering of the view that will be returned in response to the request. So the actions are very important in the struct2 application. Okay, then how to create the action. The only requirement for action in struct2 is that there must be one no argument. This is the most important thing to be remembered about creating action in struct2. Okay, what is that? That is, in struct2, the only requirement for actions is there must be one no argument. Okay, So if the no argument method is not specified, the default is to use execute method. And third, extend that action support class which implements 6 interfaces including action interface. So how this action interface will start, we can see it is started as public interface action, and we have given here some interfaces like public static final string success and success, then final string none will be none, error for error, input for input, login for login, and finally public string execute will be your default method. Okay, so public string execute throws exception. Okay, and action method in the hello world example, we can see after implementing this we will see public class hello world action extends action support, and in that we have defined private string name, then public string execute. So execute method we have used here, and it throws exception if secret dot equals of name, then return success, else return error. Okay, then so we have taken another function, that is public string get name. We are accepting name here, it will return the name variable that we are providing, and the public void set name, so it will get that value of input from the user, and it will set as response. So we have used it with the this keyword, that is this dot name equals to name. Okay, so this is about creating the action in struts2 with the create action class. Okay, so things to remember here, that is there should be one no argument. Okay, and the default method to use is execute method, and the action support class will implement 6 interfaces including action interface. Okay, and that interfaces are success, none, error, input, login, and execute. Okay, so execute is your default method. So in this session we are stopping here. In the next session we are going to see the interceptors, result types, validations, localization, exception handling plus annotations. Okay, till that revise all these things. This is much lengthy process because of that configuration files, and first time we had dealt with that struts2 web application, so it has taken much time for the explanation, but it will be an easier part if you are going step by step with the process given here. Okay, so please revise these things, and we will meet in the next part. Okay, till that take care and thanks.